True Sports episode 75 is on the air. Not much going on. I'm Taylor Phillips. He's Louis Tenor. Um, Jim Price passes away. My Tigers shut out the Twins 6-0. Um, yeah, it was a good night for the Tigers, but yeah, they're nine or 9.5 games back at the first place in the Yale Comedy Central. That's been it. Yeah, I know football preseason is coming up, but until then, not much going on.
Right.
So, what's going on your end?
Well, unfortunately, we had some mishaps. I mean, with the U.S. women's soccer team blowing it in the Sweet 16, the knockout round. Wasn't much of a game. You know, they had it was a defensive game in Sunday's loss, which is at a ridiculous time of 5 o'clock in the morning. Pretty stupid, if you ask me. Yankees are trying to get out of last place, but they lost last night against the they lost last night, but they won tonight against the White Sox. Mets are inconsistent. Giants and Jets have reported training camp, so at least another 3 4 weeks and we'll be ready. And of course, next week is the annual bragging rights battle,
Yep,
or 2 weeks away rather.
yep, it's true. So,
Well, even though it's only a preseason game, I look forward to it because it's Jets versus Giants. You know, two local teams battling for each other. For pride.
yep, Giants at Lions this Friday at 7 at Ford Field, but
Yep.
nope, there is no TV channel listed for it
No.
for no reason.
Interesting. And I have
Yep.
a very special uh a very special story that I might save for the end because well, it's a kind of like a personal thing.
Yep.
I'll explain when I do it. But
All
just might say
right.
that one though for last.
All right. Well, why don't we get this over with? It's time for your True
Yeah.
Sports Report. Go ahead.
In the words of Des Williams, save the best for last. Okay. Anywho, some late night scores here. MLB, the Angels are leading the Giants 4-3 right now. Going into the bottom of the fifth. You know, I get rid of this cockamamie thing here. I hate when I get these pop-ups. All right, there we go. 4-3. Otani, Drury, and corner up. Otani. Show me the money, Otani. Bottom of the fifth. Dodgers leading the D-backs 4-0. No one on, no one out. Urias is pitching, and Rivera is at bat. Mariners lead the Padres 1-0. Bottom of the fifth. Bases are loaded though with two out. Kerr is pitching, and Hernandez is now at bat. Two out though. Bottom of the fifth. Rangers lead the A's. What else is new? 4-1. Mad Max Scherzer is pitching, and Rooker is at bat. All the rest are final as the Phillies beat the Nationals 8-4 in game one. Wheeler got the win, Williams got the loss. The Marlins over the Reds 3-2. Garnett got the win, Sims got the loss, and Robertson got the save. Your Tigers over the Twins 6-0. Rodriguez, or as we say, Erod, got the win, and Gray got the loss. Rays over the Cardinals 4-2. Adam got the win, Mikolas got the loss, and Fairbanks got the save. Astros over the Oilers 7-6. Stanek got the win, Bautista got the loss, and Presley got the save. Braves show why they're the top in all baseball as they beat the Pirates 8-6. Yates got the win, Bendar got the loss, and Iglesias got the save. Cubs over the Mets 3-2. Talon got the win, Smith got the loss, and Azole got the save. Royals over the Red Sox 9-3. Singer got the win, and Crawford got the loss. Guardians over the Blue Jays 1-0. Bibby got the win. Karachi got the loss, and Clase got the save. And in game 2, the Nationals beat the Phillies 5-4. Oops, we got a few more. Weems got the win, Kimbrough got the loss, and Finnegan got the save. In 10 innings, the Rockies beat the Brewers 7-3. Koch got the win, and Chafin got the loss. And the Yankees over the White Sox 7-1. Schmidt got the win, and Tosne got the loss. Okay, so now we go to the standings, and it goes like this. All right. So in the East, yes, the Orioles still have the lead, 70-43, 2 games ahead of the Rays, 69-46. Blue Jays are 7 back at 64-51. The Yankees have gone out of last place as they are now at 59-55, 11 back, 11 and a half back, and the Red Sox fall to last place at 56-55, 12 games back. 58-55, excuse me. All right, to the Comedy Central. The Twins are still the only team above 500 at 60-55. The Guardians 55-59, 4.5 back. Tigers 50-63, 9 back. The White Sox 46-69, 14 back. And bring up the rear as usual. The Royals 37-78, 23 back. Well. In the West, the Rangers are 67-46. They lead their state rivals, the Astros, at 65-49, 2.5 back. The Mariners, 60-52, 6.5 back. The A's have dropped to 56-58, 11.5 back. And the A's, need I say more, apathetic, miserable, putrid, 32-81, 35 back. Your season is done, buddy. Okay, over in the National League, the Braves show why they're the best at 71-40. 10.5 games over Philadelphia at 62-52, still modest. The Marlins 59-56, 14 back. The Mets, thanks to that loss tonight, are now 51-62, 21 back. And the Nationals are 50-64, 22.5 back. To the Central, the Brewers 61-54. Look out. The Cubs are closing in 59-55, only a game and a half back. Also a game and a half back of the Reds at 60-56. Further down the list are the Pirates at 51-62, 9 back. What happened to them? Cardinals 49-65, 11 back. Just think, 6-7 weeks ago, the Cubs were nowhere in contention. Look at it now. Oh, yeah. And the West, Dodgers are 65-46, 4 games ahead of the Giants at 62-51. The D-backs, 57-56, 9 back. The Padres, 55-58, still doable, although 11 back. And the Rockies, 45-68, 21 back. All right, so now let's check tomorrow's schedule, and it goes like this. A lot of afternoon games tomorrow, so we can get this done pretty quickly. Tomorrow is the Marlins and the Reds kick off at 12:35. The Rockies take on the Brewers at 2:10. 3:37, the Rangers take on the A's. 6:40, the Twins take on the Tigers. The Cardinals take on the Rays, and the Nationals take on the Phillies. 7:05, Astros take on the Orioles. The Braves take on the Pirates. 7:10 games are the Cubs taking on the Mets, the Royals taking on the Red Sox, and the Blue Jays taking on the Guardians. 8:10, the Yankees are still in Chicago as they take on the White Sox. 9:36 or 9:38, the Giants take on the Angels. 9:40, the Dodgers take on the D-backs. The Padres take on the Mariners, and that's it. Kind of like weird star times, like 9:36, 9:38. I don't know what to say. But why don't we check out the football schedule for next week as well, since we are awaiting the regular season to begin. But I just thought maybe why not take a look at the schedule of 3 games. Okay, Thursday it starts with the Texans taking on them, or you say the Patriots. That's at 7 o'clock. The Vikings will take on the Seahawks at 10 o'clock. Those games are on NFL Network, as the majority of these games will be. For Friday, the Packers take on the Bengals at 7. Other games at 7 are the Giants taking on your Lions. The Falcons taking on the Dolphins. The Steelers taking on the Rays. 7:30. The Commanders taking on the Browns. At 10 o'clock, the Broncos taking on the Cardinals. Saturday, the Colts take on the Bills at 1 o'clock. Also 1 o'clock, the Titans take on the Bears. 4 o'clock, the Jets take on the Panthers. Oh, great. Right when my show starts. Oh, sure. Okay. Jaguars take on the Cowboys at 5. 7, the Eagles take on the Ravens at 9. The Chargers take on the Rams. Ooh, Battle of LA. I like it. And Sunday, the Chiefs take on the Saints at 1 o'clock. And the 49ers take on the Raiders at 4 o'clock. Okay. Well, here. So check it out when you can. All right. So now on to today's news stories. Oh, just
By
let
the
me
way,
get back in.
you could give live scoring updates on the show while talking about topics.
That's true. But I get a feeling that a lot of people will be more tuning into the game. Of all the times you got to do it right in the middle of my show. Thanks a lot. All right. Well, here we go. So we'll check out what the news stars here. Just found this one a little while ago. Atlanta Braves star Ronald Acuna Jr. was hit on the elbow, his left elbow, by a pitch from Pirates reliever Colin Holderman in tonight's game in the 6th inning. It was a 97 miles per hour fastball. Holderman that Acuna tried to escape before it ran into his yellow elbow guard. The good news is that 2 innings later, it was announced that X-rays were negative. Acuna has been one of the best players in the majors this season, as the Braves run the best record in the game. He led off the game was 26 home run of the season, his 31st leadoff of his career, and the 5th leadoff home run for him this season, and was 1 for 3 in the game before leaving with the injury. Acuna is batting .339 with 53 stolen bases, leads the majors in that, in 111 games this season, and was replaced by Forrest Wall in right field. The Mariners have placed pitcher Bryan Woo on the 15-day injured list with right forearm inflammation, and was designated right-hander reliever Matt Festa for assignment. The move involving Woo is retroactive to Wednesday. The Mariners also claimed right-hander Ryan Jansen off waivers from the Cubs and recalled Ryan Ryder from AAA Tacoma. Woo has 11 starts, is 1-3 with a 4.75 ERA in 55 innings with 17 walks and 60 strikeouts. Ryan has made 33 appearances for Tacoma with a 4.75 ERA by going 3-2 this season with an ERA of 3.76 with 2 saves in 40 strikeouts in 40.5 innings, despite the fact that Ryan has not played in the majors this season yet. Jansen has 6 starts in 30 games between AA and AAA for the Cubs, going 2-7 with a 5.77 ERA, 46 walks, and 66 strikeouts. It's kind of shaky. He was a first-round pick in the 2019 draft, drafted 27th overall. Festa spent time with AAA Tacoma in Seattle this season, throwing 9 innings for the Mariners, allowing 4 runs, 12 walks, and 13 strikeouts. Okay. Rays top pitcher Shane McClanahan is unlikely to pitch again this season, according to manager Kevin Cash. McClanahan will consult with another specialist on his left forearm before making a final decision on his status, but Cash says every option is on the table and might have to undergo surgery. Cash told reporters that McClanahan is scheduled to see Dr. Keith Messer for a second opinion on his forearm and shoulder area. McClanahan also with surgeon Dr. Neil Shatev, a well-known doctor in Los Angeles. McClanahan is 11-2 with an ERA of 3.29 this season. He was placed on the 15-day injured list just last week after struggling against the Yankees, where he allowed 5 earned runs in 4 innings. Not good. The Saints are expected to bring back running back Kareem Hunt and linebacker Anthony Barr, pending, of course, completion of physicals. The Saints linebacker core has been thin since starter Demario Davis sidelined with a calf injury. The Saints also lost linebacker Andrew Dowell for the season after he tore his ACL in camp. Oof. They also need help at running back once the regular season begins. While Alvin Kamara is serving a 3-game suspension for violating the league's conduct policy. The Saints have Jamal Williams and Kendre Miller on the roster, but recently replaced reserve running back Eno Benjamin on injured reserve with a ruptured Achilles. Saints coach Dennis Allen said the injury to Davis should not be long term. We will monitor him and see how he's doing. I won't issue any timelines, but as I said, this should not be a long-term problem. Barr spent last season with the Cowboys after spending the 8 previous seasons with the Vikings. A 2014 first-round draft pick with the Vikings, he started in 14 games last season with a combined 58 tackles for a sack. He made 4 Pro Bowls, with his last one coming in 2018. Hunt has been with the Browns since 2018, played 17 games with no starts as a backup to Nick Chubb. He carried the ball 123 times for 468 yards and 3 touchdowns. He also had 35 receptions for 210 yards and a touchdown. Hunt was selected in the 3rd round of the 2017 draft by the Chiefs and spent his first 2 seasons there, where he earned Rookie of the Year honors and led the league in rushing that season. Okay, I got your baseball postseason schedule already here. The MLB releases postseason schedule today, once again starting with a best-of-3 series that begins October 3rd, and the World Series scheduled to begin October 27th, ending on November 3rd if it goes the full 7 games. The best-of-5 series division begins on October 7th and will end no later than the 13th and 14th, respectively, for both leagues. Besides traveling days, there is an extra day off between games 1 and 2 for the National League Division Series. That's why one game ends on the 13th and one on the 14th. Go figure. The best-of-7 series ALS begins on October 15th, and the NLCS begins on October 16th. Last season, MLB changed their playoff format, increasing the number of postseason teams in each league to 6, with the top 2 division winners earning a first-round bye into the division series, and the 3rd division winner will play the number 3 wildcard team in round 1. The remaining 2 wildcard teams will face off with the team with the better regular season record, hosting all 3 games in this series, as well as the 3rd division winner. It gets more complicated, folks. What can I say? All-Pro running back Jonathan Taylor left Colts training camp to continue his rehab off-site. Taylor, who had been in a standoff with the Colts over lack of his contract extension, was not in today's practice, even though injured players are expected to be on the field for all workouts. Head coach Shane Steichen said Taylor was absent as part of his rehab process. If you don't see him out there, he's in rehab. Okay, of course. When asked if Taylor was rehabbing on or off-site, Stetson declined to comment. The source told ESPN that the Colts were made aware of Taylor's plans to continue to rehab away from the team, and in his absence is expected to at least a few days. Taylor had been on the unable to perform list since reporting to camp on July 27th. The team attributed the decision to his offseason ankle injury, but a source also added that Taylor also complained of back and hamstring tightness. Taylor denied that he had an issue with his back, though. The Colts opened their preseason schedule against the Bills on Saturday, but there is no indication of a resolution between Taylor and the Colts. Taylor asked to be traded, but owner Jim Irizarry rejected that flatly. Taylor, according to sources, continues to hold out for hope that the team will reconsider his trade request. He has 1 year remaining on his contract and is scheduled to hit free agency next season. Taylor led the NFL in rushing in 2011 with 1,811 yards rushing with 18 touchdowns. He also has 3,841 rushing yards since entering the league in 2020, ranks fourth, and his 33 rushing touchdowns ranks second. Not bad. Okay, White's now for the what happened with the brawl this week. White Sox shortstop Tim Anderson was suspended 6 games. Guardians third baseman Jose Ramirez for 3 games, and Guardians closer Emmanuel Clase for 1 game for their bench clearing brawl on Saturday. The suspensions were announced yesterday. Both managers Pedro Grifol and Terry Francona, as well as Guardians third base coach Mike Sarbaugh, were also suspended. All parties received fines. Anderson and Ramirez are appealing the suspensions, so the discipline will be on hold until the process has been completed. Grifol, Francona, and Claus served their suspensions on yesterday, and Sarbaugh was serving his suspension today. Yeah, dear. Rangers third baseman Josh Jung will undergo surgery this week after breaking his left thumb during the win against the Marlins on Sunday. But manager Bruce Bochy said he is hopeful that the rookie will be returned later this season. Dr. Donald Sheridan, a specialist, examined Jung in Arizona and determined that he needs surgery to repair the injury at the base of his thumb. The procedure is scheduled for tomorrow, and he is expected to miss at least 6 weeks. Jung has 22 home runs, 67 RBIs, 109 games, and bagged 274, making him a contender for Rookie of the Year. He recently went on the 10-day injured list, and the Rangers recalled infielder Jonathan Ormlands from AAA Round Rock. The Rangers began the night 2.5 ahead of the Astros. Jung was injured on the play at the top of the sixth in Sunday's game with runners on first and second with nobody out. Jorge Soler hit a 110-mile-an-hour line drive directly at Jung. The ball bounced out of his glove, but he grabbed it and started a double play by tagging the bag, throwing the second. Jung then left the game. It's kind of tough. Right, moving on. Red Sox shortstop Trevor Story is set to make his return. Had made his return to the lineup last night, and pitcher Chris Sale is set to return to the rotation on Friday, said by manager Alex Cora. Speaking to reporters before the win over the Royals, Cora said that Sale would most likely start Friday against your Detroit Tigers. Well. Sale was 5-2 with a 4.5 ERA before going to the injured list on June 1st with shoulder soreness. Didn't say which shoulder, though. Story was slotted to replace Alexander Bogaerts at shortstop, but had shoulder surgery in January on his right UCL. The Red Sox have struggled to replace him in the infield, while Kike Hernandez leading the league in errors before being traded away. Reliever Garrett Whitlock, who has been out with a bruised elbow, will make one more rehab start before rejoining the team, and reliever Tanner Hannock will also need to make one more rehab start before a decision is made on his return. Yeah. And Yankee manager Aaron Boone made the most of his AL leading 6th ejection after the season after losing to the White Sox last night. Boone was ejected by umpire Laz Diaz after Anthony Volpe was called out on strikes against White Sox reliever Brian Shaw to begin the 8th inning. After he was thrown out, Boone ran to home plate and began a theatrical arm-waving display, which you gotta see to believe. Boone went down and drew a line in the dirt with his finger on the edge of the left-handed batter's box, demonstrating where he thought where the pitch was, then mimic Diaz's calling strike 3. Volpe was caught looking at a sinker that actually appeared to nip the outside corner, but frustration had built up for the Yankees, who left 13 batters on base and struck out 12 times. The Yankees were handed 8 walks by the White Sox pitchers, but were only able to manage 1 run. This was Boone's 32nd ejection of his career. Oh boy, how do you stay as manager when you're being ejected so many times? Good. All right. Moving down the line, the Dallas Cowboys cut kicker Christian Vizcaino. Coach Mike McCarthy said yesterday, Brandon Aubrey is the only kicker left on the 90-man roster after Vizcaino was released. But the Cowboys could add another kicker or might wait as teams across the league pare down their kickers, such as Mason Crosby and Robbie Gould, remain available. But the Cowboys have yet to express interest in either player. In 8 practices, Vizcaino made 22 of 35 attempts on team drills and was just 4 for 8 in last Saturday's practice. That included 4 straight misses, though one was a result of a bad snap. Aubrey, who played for the Stallions in the USFL this spring, made 26 of 35 attempts, but was 1 for 3 in game-ending situations on Saturday. The Cowboys had interest in 2 kickers in the draft, Jake Moody and Chad Ryland, but both were selected earlier than the team wanted to select as a kicker. Happens a lot. Yeah, it does. All right, moving along. John Johnson, the third agreed to a 1-year deal to return to the Rams, source told ESPN. Johnson played his first 4 years with the Rams before he spent the last 2 seasons with the Browns, who was released in March. The Rams will add Johnson's experience and versatility to a young group of safeties that include Jordan Fuller, Russ Yeast, Quentin Lake, and Jason Taylor. Johnson signed a 3-year, $33.5 million deal with the Browns in 2021, but failed to generate game-changing plays with the Browns. He recorded 162 tackles, 3 forced fumbles, 4 interceptions, 2 fumble recoveries, and a sack in 32 games with Cleveland. A third-round pick in 2017, he started 48 games with the Rams and was a key contributor to the Rams reaching the 2018 Super Bowl, even though they lost. Okay, moving along. The Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame will enshrine a new class of legends this weekend. That's right, this weekend. The full list of nominees were announced in December. Finalists were announced during All-Star Weekend in Salt Lake, and the full class announced during the men's and women's Final Four. The class of 2023 will be enshrined on Saturday. The new summer date reflects an effort for enshrinement that weekend to be more accessible to fans and guests, a change in dates from recent celebrations where they were held the weekend after Labor Day. Enshrinement weekend will begin on Friday at Mohegan Sun, Connecticut, with a tip-off celebration and awards gala, inclusive of the class of 2023 jacket and ring presentation and the annual Hall of Fame awards. The enshrinement ceremony will take place at Springfield, Massachusetts on Saturday. Okay, moving down the line. Team USA completed its 5-day training camp ahead of the World Cup with an easy win over Puerto Rico, 117-74, last night, leaving coach Steve Kerr thrilled and will hope lead to a gold medal at the end of the tournament. It was a great night for us, said Kerr, after winning his first game as coach of the senior team. I think we really picked up on what we're trying to install on both ends, and we're slowly getting used to the FIBA rules. It's all part of the process of getting accustomed to what we'll be facing. A sluggish performance in the first half, Puerto Rico jumped out to a 6-2 lead and led 50-43 at the half, giving away to a frantic performance, one that saw a bigger, longer American team leverage those advantages to put the game out of reach. Team USA outscored their opponents 34-18 in the third and 33-13 in the fourth, forcing 13 turnovers that became 31 points, allowing the Americans to score in transition and take control of the game. It took a while to get the ball rolling. but when we were playing on the defensive side of the ball and getting stops and turnovers and running, it was fun for us, said Jalen Bruson, who was playing at point guard, finishing with 12 rebounds, 11 points in 22 minutes. So we are just trying to continue to do that and just not worry about the offense, and we'll be all right. Cameron Johnson and Anthony Edwards each scored 15 points. Edwards was 7 for 13 shooting and also had 4 steals and assists, using his length, strength, and speed to harass Puerto Rico's perimeter players into mistakes. Jaren Jackson also a strong performance with 12 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 blocked shots. 2 blocks, that is. The Anaheim Ducks signed goaltender Alex Stalock to a 1-year deal back yesterday. Terms of the deal were not disclosed. However, The Athletic reported that Stalock will make about $800,000 for the upcoming season. Stalock was 9, 15, and 2. That's if you count losses in overtime and shootouts, and had a goals against average of 3.01 and a 9.08 save percentage for the Blackhawks. Former number 2 NBA pick Jabari Parker signed with Barcelona FC of the Spanish club. The announcement was made yesterday. The forward last played in the NBA for the Celtics. The Bucks drafted Parker second overall in 2014, one spot after Andrew Wiggins. We all remember that one. Andrew Wiggins. In eight seasons, Parker had 14.1 points per game, 5.5 rebounds, and played in 310 games with 190 starts for 6 different teams. Jabari played his college ball at Duke and was the ACC Freshman of the Year in the 2013-2014 season. College National Basketball Championships UConn will take on North Carolina in the JV Classic, while Florida Atlantic will play in the other matchup. I'm making this on my calendar. Oh boy. The 2 matchups will take place on December 5th and the Garden, and both will air on ESPN. 3 of the 4 teams ranked in the way too early top 25, with UConn number 5, Florida Atlantic at number 9, and North Carolina at number 15. All 3 teams have made Final Four runs in the last 2 seasons. Florida Atlantic will play North Carolina in the second game, I should say. UConn brings back 2 starters and breakout star Donovan Clingan from a team that cruised through all 6 games en route to a championship, winning every game by at least 13 points. UConn also welcomes transfer student Cam Spencer from Rutgers, and a top 3 recruiting class that includes top 5 prospect Stefan Castle. I always hate when they transfer from my home state. NHL defenseman Matt Dumba agreed to a 1-year, $3.9 million deal yesterday with the Coyotes. That, according to multiple reports, joining a rebuilding team that could be richer in the future. Dumba played for Minnesota for 10 seasons. After the Wild selected him 7th overall. He served as overall alternate captain for the past 2 seasons, while playing more of a shutout role after being one of the league's best 2-way defensemen. Moving along here. Dumba had 50-point season in 2017-2018, and has 7 seasons with at least 20 points. Last season, he had 4 goals and 14 assists in 79 of 82 games. Because of salary cap issues, the Wild elected to buy out players such as Zach Parise and Ryan Suter in 2021 to create more room. Dumba's name appeared often in trade rumors, a steady defenseman with the ability to pitch offensively here and there. Dumba appeared to have drawn interest over the years, but his contract likely got in the way of making any potential deals. And the 1-year deal in Arizona means Dumba can play on a prove-it deal and enter the market again next July. Dumba gives the Coyotes veteran leadership on a young team. He will likely fill a top 4 spot on the Coyotes' blue line. That includes Sean DeRuzzi coming from the Kings, an offseason trade for a 2024 pick. The Coyotes also added Alex Kerfoot, Nick Bergstand, and former Wild player Jason Zucker as the Coyotes enter year 3 of the rebuilding effort. Yes, that dreaded word, rebuild. Brian DeChambeau had a sense that he was closing on something special on Sunday in the LAV tournament at Green Barrier. DeChambeau became the fourth player on the top level tour to score 58, making a birdie on his last 4 holes to win his first title on the LAV circuit. He holed a 35-foot putt on par 3 on the 18th hole and leaped in the air with both arms to celebrate his lowest score and his lowest score ever, and first victory on the LAV tour. This was his first victory overall in more than 2 years. DeChambeau finished 23 under with the final score of 187, 6 strokes ahead of Mito Partella to earn the top prize of $4 million. I wonder what Brooks Koepka is saying about that now. Oh boy. Yeah. The Sharks granted defenseman Erik Karlsson a trade request back on Sunday to the Penguins in a 3-team deal that also includes Montreal, that includes forward Michael Garland, as well as a 2024 first-round pick. Along with Garland and the pick to be named later, the Sharks acquire winger Mike Hoffman and defenseman Jan Rutta. Pittsburgh will also receive forwards Rem Pitlick and Dylan Hamonic and 2026 third-round pick, while the Canadiens will receive defenseman Jeff Petrie, goaltender Casey DeSmith, and forward Nathan Legar, and 2025 second-round selection. Karlsson won the Norris Trophy last season and told the Sharks he wanted to be traded to a title-contending team. Karlsson also joins a Penguins team that had missed the playoffs for the first time since 2006, but is recognizing under new president and operations manager and general manager Kyle Dubas. The Sharks have missed the playoffs for the last 4 years. Karlsson posted 101 points last season, the first defenseman to score at least 100 points since Brian Leetch of the Rangers in 1994 on the way to the Stanley Cup. I know a lot of Islanders fans are not happy about that, but I don't care. As I mentioned, the women's U.S. soccer team goes down to Sweden, coming down to a penalty shootout. This was the first time that the women's team failed to reach at least a semifinal round, and it was just heartbreaking to see that happen. The U.S. was dominant much throughout the game until the shootout took place. Just awful. Cavaliers and Spanish point guard Rick Rubio says he needs to focus on his mental health and stepping away from the game. I decided to stop playing pro ball to take care of my mental health and thank the support he received from the Spanish national team to understand his decision. Rubio said he'll give more information when the time becomes available. Rubio was expected to lead Spain in the FIBA World Cup tournament to begin on August 25th, but left training camp early this week in Madrid and missed a warm game against Venezuela. Spain pulled ahead of the U.S. in the world rankings after winning last summer's Eurobasket Championship. Spain is also without guard Lorenzo Brown due to injury. Rubio had a subpar season after recovering from a torn ACL, the second time in his career. He returned in midseason playing 33 games, scoring 5.2 points per game and 3.5 rebounds. Rubio has 2 years left on his $12.5 million deal. For the second straight day of training camp, Team USA, roster head the FIBA World Cup later this month, play a scrimmage on Friday against Team Select, a group of young players and vets brought in to help the senior group prepare for the competition. In a group led by Pistons guard Kate Cunningham It was the select team that won both scrimmages and were impressive in both outings. Boy, beginner's luck. Team USA head coach Steve Kerr says the scrimmages are a time-honored tradition in USA basketball, dating back just before the '92 Olympics, when Team Select upset Dream Team in a scrimmage. The first time the Dream Team was formed. It happened again in a scrimmage prior to the 2019 World Cup. The stunning performance by Team Select was driven mostly by Cunningham, the top overall pick in 2021, who was on the court in a competitive setting for the first time since November. He only played 12 games last season before undergoing surgery to repair a stress fracture in his leg. On Friday, Kay Cunningham said that he was happy to be back on court. Capitals fans, I got some news for you. As forward Tom Wilson signs a long-term deal that will keep him in Washington probably for the rest of his career. Ah well. Wilson agreed to a 7-year extension worth $45.5 million back on Friday. That keeps him from entering free agency next summer. Oh dear. Instead, he will count $6.5 million against the cap from the time the new contract begins in 2024 that will last through 2031. Lakers forward Anthony Davis, or AD, signed a 3-year, $186 million max contract that keeps him tied to the Lakers until 2028 for a whopping $270 million, set by his agent, Rich Paul. Davis' deal is the largest annual deal in NBA history that will average $62 million per season. Davis, who had signed 2 years and 84, had 2 years, $84 million left in his current deal, became eligible to sign a 3-year extension deal back on Friday. General manager Rob Pelinka and Paul moved quickly to complete the deal. Davis replied, "You complete me." And that's just a little joke, folks. Along with LeBron James, the league's all-time leading scorer, Davis remained the cornerstone of the Lakers, who went to the Western Conference Finals this past season. He averaged 26 points per game, 12.5 rebounds, and 2 blocked shots, and shot 56% from the field. And of course, the Nuggets beat them and became the eventual NBA champions. Not that I was surprised by that, of course. I really wasn't, but the Lakers did give that a good effort. No one expected them to reach that far. But when they had a lineup like they did, that didn't really surprise me much at all. Okay, just a few more notes here before I go to my interesting story of the day. Probably one of the most interesting stories of the year so far. Okay, it was a case of a double whammy as Reds pitcher Lyon Richardson gave up 2 home runs on his first 2 pitches as the Reds lost to the Nationals last night, or Sunday rather. C.J. Abrams and Lane Thomas hit back-to-back home runs in Sunday's win over the Reds. Richardson is the first pitcher to give up 2 home runs on his first 2 pitches since the start of the pitch count era that dates back to 1999. Very auspicious, if you ask me. Abrams and Thomas teamed up on 2 fastballs for a combined total of 810 feet. Abrams reached the first section of the seats down the right field with a 4-on-2 shot for his first career leadoff home run. Then Thomas, it's 4-8 rather, hit a 406 feet home run to center field for his 3rd home run of the series. Abrams finished with 4 hits, and Thomas was 7 for 13 with 8 RBIs in the series. Richardson was 3-0. Enjoy Mesnes, the next batter, before throwing a strike that sparked sarcastic cheers from the crowd. He rebounded from his rocky start to 2 hitless innings. 4 hits, 4 runs, and 3 walks and 2 strikeouts. Interesting. All right. Wake Forest Wide receiver Donovan Green will miss 3 to 5 months with a knee injury he sustained the first day of practice. The announcement came from the school yesterday. Green, who entered the season as the Deacons' top receiver, finished second on the team last season with 642 run yards and 6 touchdown receptions. He led the team with an average of 17.4 yards per catch. This was the second major injury of Green's career. He also missed all of 2021 with another injury that was not mentioned. Wake has depth at wide receiver with Jamal Banks, Taylor Morin, Wesley Grimes, and Keyshawn Williams, but losing Green may affect the team's ability to stretch the field deeper. Red Sox fielder Alex Vertigo returned to the lineup on Sunday against the Blue Jays, and after he is benched by manager Alex Cora. Hopefully, we learn as a group from what happened, and that's why we did it. Cora said before their blowout loss to the Blue Jays on Sunday. It was my decision not to play him, and I have my reasons for it, and we'll leave it at that. Mm-hmm. On Sunday, Vertigo was 3 for 4 with 3 singles and made a great catch on Matt Chapman's fly ball near the pesky pole. And believe me, it is a pest. I've seen it in person. On Saturday, the Red Sox benched the outfielder 2 hours prior to game time. There was no specific reason given and was replaced by Adam Duvall. Vertigo spoke to the media after the game and said it was a manager's decision, and the rest is history. Earlier this season, Cora benched Vertigo for not hustling, and after last season, the manager challenged him to be better prepared, like a Boy Scout. Panthers quarterback Bryce Young will start in Saturday's preseason game versus the Jets, said by head coach Frank Reich back on Sunday. Reich did not commit to how many snaps or series the top draft pick would play. I do have an idea, said Reich. There is flexibility in the plan. There has to be. That's just being smart. We have a general idea of how many plays we want to get through the preseason, but we can adjust that by 10 or 20% depending on how this works out, depending on this progress. The plan to play Young should not come as a surprise, as General Manager Scott Fitterer said on the day of players reported to camp, that Young needs reps. Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers is not expected to play, said Coach Robert Saleh, and is only expected to play in the final preseason game against the Giants if he felt his starters need work. Rodgers will get most of the work in joint practices with the Panthers this week at the Panthers training facility. Young is also expected to give extensive work during joint practices, making it the first time he will face an opposing defense. Mm-hmm. All right. Moving along here. The Dodgers placed right-handed pitcher Michael Grove on the 15-day injury list with a right lat strain. In a corresponding move, the Dodgers recalled left-hander Brian Hudson from AAA Oklahoma City. Grove threw 1.5 scoreless innings and started against the Padres, striking out 4 batters before allowing 1 hit and was replaced by Ryan Yarbrough. This season, Grove is 2-3 with an ERA of 6.61 with 67 strikeouts, 18 walks, in 64 innings and 12 starts. The ERA, though, that's a little high. Yankees pitcher Carlos Rodon will undergo MRI with his left hamstring after leaving Sunday's game and lost to the Astros. They probably had it done already. Rodon looked awkward, finishing his delivery on his final 2 pitches to Astro pitcher Chas McCormick before manager Aaron Boone and the training staff came out to see him. He did not attempt to throw some more pitches. He did attempt to throw some more pitches, but eventually was replaced by Johnny Brito. I felt a grab. It felt like a grab, and did it again. After that, it was more like a precaution. Rodon missed the first 3 months of the season with a left forearm strain and has struggled since. And his ERA has skyrocketed to a 7.33 after giving up home runs to Jake Myers and Jordan Alvarez on Sunday. Rodon is in the first year of a 6-year deal worth $162 million that he signed in the offseason, but has missed 6 starts and could miss more time. The Yankees and Astros split a 4-game series this weekend, which is exactly what I thought it was going to be anyway. I was not expecting a sweep from either team. All right. Starting fielders Tim Anderson and Jose Ramirez were both ejected in the sixth. Oh, that was already done. But that was like, Ty is now up to 40 home runs plus. His hand's feeling better and made his next scheduled start. And will make his next scheduled start tomorrow against the Giants, said by manager Phil Nevin. Ohtani only went 4 innings against the Mariners last Thursday, as he had cramping in his right hand. He said the cramping was mostly in his middle right finger. And this was going to cost him, I think, the home run title set by Judge last year. Ohtani struggled with a finger blister and cracked nail last month, but those issues are not related to the cramping, which I thought it was. Well, I thought it was related to the cramping. That's what I would have thought. Anyway, moving on. All right. Philly slugger Bryce Harper is not likely to play outfield again this season. The two-time MVP served strictly as the Phillies' DH last season after injuring his right elbow on the outfield throw in April 2022 after off-season Tommy John surgery. Harper returned on May 2nd before he made his debut at first base on July 21st. Since then, manager Rob Thompson has been alternating Harper between first and DH, and that's likely the plan for the rest of the year. I would not think so at this point, unless something changes, Thompson said when asked if Harper would play in the outfield this season. Since playing at first base, Harper has only made one error in 80 innings. After playing at first base Saturday night, he returned to DH on Sunday. Harper is in the 5th year of his $330 million deal with the Phillies that he signed in 2019 and has 5 home runs and 32 RBIs in 77 games that he has played this season. That's 77 games that he's played. All right. Just to see if I've come up with anything else important. All right, now I'm going to go to the interesting story of the day. I think this is very interesting, especially for people in my home state. I have a hometown story here, and this is close to hometown as I can get. As Hanover Park is in the baseball playoffs. The East Hanover Farm Park All Stars took on the Massapequa, New York team in Bristol, Connecticut, the home of ESPN. The Hornets lost today's game 10-1 in the first game of the Metro Regional Playoff game. For Hanover Park, it was rough from the get-go, as Massapequa scored 7 runs in the bottom of the first and had 3 more in the bottom of the third. However, this is a double elimination round, so the Hornets will get another chance at the regional championship if they beat Rhode Island tomorrow. The regional final is played on Friday. The winner of that lead will head to the Little League World Series. And it should be noted because Hanover Park is where I went to school back in the 1980s. So this is for my alma mater. And all I can say is, go Hornets. We were called the Hornets. All right, so checking on the baseball scores now. The Angels lead the Giants 6-5 in the bottom of the 8th. Jackson coming up. Jackson will be pitching, and Renfroe will be batting. Also, in the top of the 8th, the Dodgers still lead the D-backs 4-0. Frias is pitching, and Muncy is at bat with 1 out and nobody on. Also in the bottom of the 8th, the Mariners lead the Padres 2-0. No one on and 1 out. Hatter is pitching, and France is at bat. And last but not least, the Rangers looks like they're going to beat the A's 6-1. It's in the top of the ninth. No one on, no one out. Martinez is pitching. Seager is at bat. Now Lowell is at bat with one out. That just came up on there. All right, so that in my notes. So now I'll just turn back over to you.
All right, that's episode 75 of True Sports. We'll be back Sunday night at 11:30.
Right.
All
On that
right.
note, good night, folks.
Yep.